Felt like it was gonna fall out, so I was kind of nervous.
So we got up early to catch sunrise in the mountains, and the sunrise absolutely lit up. Unfortunately, we got there a couple minutes too late, and as the sun came up over the horizon, the light sort of just turned a little bit gray, and I didn't actually end up shooting anything at this first location. As we carried on down the highway, the conditions got noticeably more wintry and snowy. The end goal for the day was to go to this lake and check out some frozen ice bubbles. The drive itself is about 3 to 3.5 hours long, and we had most of the day to get out there, so we made a lot of stops at some popular locations because these are the most accessible during the winter. Got it. I hope I pressed record.
I hope so too.
2, 1. Okay. Perfect.
You get it?
Yeah. At this point, I was getting a little bit more worried about the weather turning. Number 1, because of the driving conditions, and number 2, because of the visibility for photos. The weather had called for clear skies pretty much all day, but hadn't shown anything otherwise. After some time, the sun poked through and gave us a little glimpse of hope, so we decided to continue on. We did find the frozen bubbles on the lake, but I didn't shoot as much as I thought I would. It just felt like this big buildup of excitement because I haven't seen the frozen bubbles underneath the ice for at least a few years, but when we got there, it was just kind of there. The bubbles were still super cool to see, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like I wanted to enjoy my time spent out there. Later on when we got back home, I decided to develop the rolls. Every time I develop, it's sort of an experiment, and I'm always learning something new. As you can see on some of the scans, the edges of the frames are completely white, like no detail. Some other scans that I notice is there's kind of like this wavy pattern that's in the middle of the frame. At first I thought it was something wrong with my scanning process. Maybe the edges were white because they curled and they weren't flat enough on the scanner. But when I actually took a look at the physical negatives, you could actually kind of see where the problem was. I did some research online and I found out that when you agitate the film with the stirring stick, if you don't stir it enough, it actually doesn't move the exhausted developer off the film and refresh it. So the edges of the negatives were actually not getting developed at all. It is pretty easy to just crop in on some of these photos, but it is a little bit annoying that there's physically no detail there and there's basically nothing that can be done. In the end, I learned something new, and if you develop film at home, hopefully you can take away something from this as well. Thanks so much for watching. I've got more videos planned soon, so make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.